Hey guys, we are going to start working on portraiture. So all of the proportions that I'm going to prepare for you guys are guidelines. So kind of what that means is when you're developing a character or you're developing a cartoon, you're going to make small changes and adjustments. So for instance, if you put your halfway mark too high, your person begins to look a little bit sinister. So maybe you want to create a villain. And maybe those are some changes that you're going to alter as you decide to build a character. So I'm going to teach you all the rules on this project, and then I'll teach you how to break the rules later. All right, so generally speaking, if you look at the ear, so go find somebody in your house where you can go look at their ear. Generally speaking, the reason eyeglasses go on ears is this point here is in line with the eye. And then this tippy top of the ear is supposed to be in line with the eyebrow. Now that's accurate, but you'll find when you do that, all of a sudden your character looks a little elfish. And then this line here should come to the opening of the mouth. But did you know that ears and noses don't stop growing? Did you know that? So if you look at your grandma's ears, they might be a little bit different. All right, so on me, I have a forehead. 4 fingers, forehead. Come here, honey. This is Jim. Okay, Jim has a 5 head. He has 5 fingers. Okay, thanks, hon. Oh, while you're here, we're going to check his ear. All right, so this point on his ear does go to his eye. But if you notice, his ear is sort of cockeyed, and his ear is also lining up with his eye. And then if you notice on the bottom of his ear, I'm tickling him, it goes to the opening of the mouth. But you need to check the people in your house because ears move. Thanks, hon. Okay, so I created kind of a baseline board for us, and then I'm going to draw a little bit. So a lot of people start with the egg shape. The problem with the egg shape is before you know it, it's like an avocado shape. And that's okay when you're building character, but we want to start with all of the proportions correct. So the way that I made this one is I started with a circle. Then I measured the circle, I got halvesies, so I cut that bad boy in half. I take this measurement, and then I make a line for my jaw, okay? So I start with the circle instead of the egg because I think it helps you guys be more accurate, okay? So then I'm taking this measurement here, and I'm gonna create a little line here, and this guy should match. And if I'm not sure, I would use a pencil or a marker, and I would use my thumb here and make a little handy dandy measurement. And look at that, it's long. It sure is. So then I'm gonna maneuver my chin line to there. Then the next thing you want to think about is where does the hinge of the skull occur? And sometimes that's hard to see. So you know what we used to do? We used to refer you guys back to Bob. Do you know who Bob is? Bob is the skull. Yep. Not creepy at all, right? Meet Bob. So these are some charcoal drawings I did while you guys were quietly working on still life at school. All right. So that's our buddy Bob. And we get a side view here. We got a nice opportunity to see where the mechanics of that hinge are actually connecting and see how that line is sort of even up with that nose. But in reality, when we're observing with all the skin on, you add an inch right here for that jawline. So it's going to be south, I lost my marker, south of the ear. All right, so we're going to pull that line to about here. And we're going to make that jaw come down here. Now, I know that sort of looks like a hot air balloon, right? But we're going to fix it. So now I'm going to come in here and I want to make sure that whatever this measurement is, I'm going to divide that by 5. Why do you think 5? What measurement would that be? Do you know? Come here, honey. He's such a good guy.
I mean, I was going to say eyes,
so we're going to measure the eye and turn to the camera, my friend. This eye measurement, you separate by an eye measurement here in the middle, right? And then that is going to be the width of your nose. Your nose, he's flaring his nose. His nose should be the same distance apart as his eyes. Thanks, bud. All right, so we're going to do a measurement of 5. We know this is half, so we're going to divide that by half. And we're going to put in where we think those eye lines are going to go. All right? So when we measure too far apart in the middle here, that creates some issues. So we want to make sure that it's just about right. This eye got to come out here. All right, so then we're going to put in a circle for the eye. Even though you can't see it, I'll refer back to Bob. The orbital bone is actually a true circle because the eyeball itself is recessed and it is a true sphere. All right, so we're going to leave that shape. All right, so now we're in our robot stage. See how this guy's all lined up? This line here is going to be for the nose. So then we're going to go half again. And that is for the opening of the mouth. All right. So he looks like a sad little robot. But you know what? If we add ears, remember the ear attachment is even with the eye for eyeglasses. Then the little tilt up of that ear is even with the eyebrow. And then that's going to come down here, right? So we're going to put those ears in place. Aww. He just looks like he's from the future. Isn't he cute? All right, so then we want to think about all of the shapes that are going to create the eye. All right, so generally speaking, let's say this is our line. We are going to create a shape here that comes up and a shape here that comes down. That is going to create this brow bone where it attaches to the nose, okay? Then we're going to make kind of a straightish line across. We're going to bring it down and we're going to bring it over.
Excuse me, I have a question.
Yes.
So don't the ears go down to the nose?
Yes.
Okay, so they're going past the nose.
Yeah,
just making sure.
Aren't they cute though?
They are cute.
He's so cute.
There we go.
All right, so then we're looking at the shapes of all these bits here because we have covering over that ping pong ball of the eye. So we want to come in here and think about what those shapes are. Right? So I'm just putting this shape here into our dude. And I'm worried I'm going to erase too much. So I'm going to use my finger here. And I'm going to start shaping him up. All right. Then I'm going to put in the pupil of my eye. The pupil of your eye comes on down. The inside of the eye comes down to the outside of the nose. That's how we know how wide that nose goes. This is how we know how wide that mouth has to go. All right, so this little thing here used to be called the angel's thumbprint, right? This shape here is going to give you that distance between the nose and the mouth. So I always draw that little teardrop in just to give me a sense of how far that goes. We put a tiny little shadow under this lip just to give us a hint of where that goes. The outside of the eye, that is where the neck goes. All right, so we're going to put in a neck on our guy. And then we put in the trap, a little bit of the shoulder. All right, now doesn't he look a mess with all those dots and everything? I always feel so bad for him. Remember, don't go too high unless you're making a villain. We're gonna get rid of this dude here. Again, real quick, make my circle. I'm gonna cut my circle up, looking at making a square out of my circle. Cut this guy here. Then this measurement here goes to here. I'm gonna cut in, get rid of that. This is my eye line, okay? Nose here. Then halvesies, that's gonna be, that's a little long, ain't it? If it's too long, it also feels like Jafar, like it's also kind of a villainous look. You also notice on your villains, they're gonna have these like killer cheekbones, and then eyebrows. The eyebrows are where all the emotion is. So then they might have a mean eyebrow like this, raw, and then you put in your eyeball. We follow the frenulum. We put in our mouth here. All right, and then the chin.
What do you mean? You might as well put in a mustache.
I should put in a mustache. Mustache. All right, but check out that eyebrow action, man. That is like coming in close and tight. All right, so on our guy, I'm having too much fun. We're gonna get into the robot stage. So something that you kids always forget, and you put your eyes too high, is you forget this measurement between the hairline and the top of the head, and that volume here ends up going away. Don't make that mistake. You guys know better. All right, so we're gonna put in this eye, right? I'm gonna get rid of that stuff. Once I get that nose in here, I'm gonna get rid of that line here. I'm gonna start cleaning stuff up. I want you guys to begin to think about self-portrait. All right, so this portrait, I want you guys to work live. Put all your proportions in. Remember where everything goes. Don't go for the egg face. We're going to start with the circle, okay? And then draw it down. Then I want you guys to think about, what are the shape of your eyes? How much eyelid do you have? Where do your ears go? You know, I want you guys to think about that. I want you guys to work from a mirror. 2 eyes are better than 1. Your selfie camera is only 1 eyeball. Use a mirror. Go work live. All the greats did. I'm going to give you guys some great samples of artists that drew lots and lots and lots of self-portraits. And they, like Rembrandt, drew 70 self-portraits over the course of his life. You know why? Because everywhere you go, there you are. And you can always draw from yourself, right? So we want to make sure that that's accurate. See? Oops, my mouth is way too big on that side. Then, where's your hair parted? Right? You're going to draw out of the mirror. So draw what you see. Don't try to reverse your part and put it over here, because that's what your mom sees. You draw what you see in the mirror, okay? And then we come down, we put in the neck. All right, so on this drawing, I want your proportions to be accurate. I want you guys to work in pencil. Use your eraser, it's your best friend. You will begin to think about shading. So I do want you to have a light source as you're drawing, but I don't want you guys to like 100% fully render this, okay? but I want to know where your proportions are. Do you know where your nose goes? Do you know where your ears go? All of these things are really important, and I want to know that you know.